close this real quick. All right. For folks joining us here on the KSAT weather app, on the KSAT app, or on YouTube, we're going to be streaming here for about the next hour or so, just keeping you up to date on what's going on with the ice. A lot to talk about. RJ is going to kind of be our main player this morning because we've got so much going on the roadways, and that really is the big issue that we're going to be dealing with this morning as far as ice is concerned. Right now, you're looking at the winter storm warning map. It does include San Antonio, and here's why. They upgraded it overnight purely because those bridges and overpasses became slick, and that proof is showing up here on TransGuide with quite a few crashes around the area this morning due to the ice. And I'm just pulling up some of our graphics here, and we'll get underway here very soon. We'll let some other people join. If you have questions, we'll try to answer some of those on YouTube. You can watch us live there. And again, you can tune in on our app as well. Pretty handy stuff if you're just chilling at home this morning, quite literally chilling. The way the temperatures are looking right now, they are brutally cold. And if you didn't see the breaking news push alert from earlier, the MLK March has been canceled this morning. So if you had plans to go to that, it is no longer going to happen due to the weather. So we start with the radar, and this is what's going on at this hour. And you can see we continue to have these passing light, drizzly showers. Not a lot there, but it's enough. It's enough to cause issues on the roadways. And yeah, we've seen that. So this is showing up as a little bit of snow. I don't know if that's really the case. If it is, it's going to be that really fine, granular snow that's probably not going to, it's not going to accumulate. But it's this peak stuff that really continues to be the problem here around San Antonio that is causing some of the light precipitation, some of that light icing on the bridges and overpasses. And a couple things we can do here. I'm going to pause the animation, and we can look at, let's see if we can look at, you know what I want to do here is look at some of the road temperatures. And this is a great tool we have on our radar here where we can determine just how cold some of those roads are, some of the highways. Look at that, 28, that's the road temperature. So anything that falls in that is going to start sticking. It's been so cold this morning. We have temperatures in the low 20s across San Antonio. Most of these road temperatures are sub-freezing, which is why we're starting to see people slide around. As you go east, even worse. Up towards New Braunfels, yeah, road temperatures around 25 or so. And here's why, real quick, when we have a second to talk about it, that we are so concerned with bridges and overpasses. So what happens is, the bridge temperature can get much colder than the actual road temperature because you have air passing over top and underneath, and it exposes that bridge, and they are the first to go. And we know we have some of those really tall flyovers here in San Antonio, and they'll ice up very, very quickly, and that's exactly what we've been seeing this morning. And as far as why we're seeing what we're seeing, well, with freezing rain, what happens is you get very cold area of air right near the surface that is sub-freezing. It's above freezing. Above that, falls through that, melts, and then when it falls back down into the cold temperatures we have here at the surface, it immediately freezes. And right now we're in the 20s, actually low 20s. So it is no surprise we are seeing what we're seeing at the moment. And I'm going to switch over to temperatures real quick, and we'll get over to RJ here because, again, he's going to be a main player this morning with everything that's going on. Here's the big picture, and you can see that light activity here from San Antonio over to Houston. So it's not just us. There is treacherous travel, San Antonio up to Dallas. Look at these wind chill values. -5 in Abilene. Feels like 9 here right now. That's what it feels like outside. So brutal. And if we take a look with the live cam, it is iced over. Temperatures right now, 21 at the airport, feels like 9. New Braunfels, 20, feels like 5. Bernie and Kerrville in the teens, feels like 5 there. So we still have a northerly wind. And actually, that wind is going to help us a little bit to kind of get rid of some of this ice, I think, later this morning. But at the moment, it is still not advised to travel. And the forecast, as we get into tomorrow morning, well, this is actually midday today. We'll still have wind chills in the teens, by the way. But as we get into this afternoon, maybe it improves a little bit, wind chills in the 20s. But by tomorrow morning, we go right back down into the single digits. This is what it will feel like at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, 2 We'll have negative wind chills. So yes, this morning's cold. Tuesday could be even colder. We're going to get rid of some of the clouds later today with clear skies. Temperatures will get very cold. Now, I was going to show the forecast for the MLK March. It has been canceled due to the weather. Yeah, it's just not a good day, unfortunately, with some of the slick roads. High temperatures or low temperatures by tomorrow morning down to 19. So these are all things we're looking at. But with talking about the roads, let's get over to RJ now because I think he's got a lot going on over there. What's the latest, RJ?
Yeah, Justin. So it's been very busy over the past hour or so. Seen a lot of different things develop throughout the city of San Antonio. So we'll take a look at our big map here in just a little bit and show you exactly what we're looking at, what we're following across the city. Biggest issue right now, if you are in the south side, the southeast side, we have got a couple of crashes kind of within proximity of each other that are causing a major mess. In fact, Loop 410 South right now is shut down in one of these areas. So this is a TransGuide camera shot there at Loop 410 at WW White. We had reports of a VIA bus that may have been possibly involved in a crash here. Again, we're trying to get that confirmed with VIA at the moment. It is obviously holiday, but this is something that we're trying to get right now into the newsroom at the moment. So we'll see if we can give you an update here at the moment. But you see here, based on our TransGuide traffic shot, that we have got several tech stop vehicles out there, emergency vehicles, looking at this collision out here, Loop 410 at WW White. Taking you outside, so show you maps here real quick. We're looking at, again, here's our crash there, WW White at 410. The other major issue that we're looking at 410 right now is on the southbound lanes at Sinclair Road. So that part of 410 has been completely shut down right now. There was a report of an 18-wheeler that jackknifed there earlier this morning. So they have went ahead and shut down southbound Loop 410 at Sinclair Road in that area again. So we have this 18-wheeler jackknife there, a little bit north, and then we also have this reported VIA bus crash there on WW White at Loop 410. All right, let's take a look here at what exactly is going on around the rest of the city. I'm going to get out of the way here real quick and kind of take over. Let's see if I could do this with our computer here. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you. So where in the city are you seeing most of the crashes? Has it been southeast side?
It's been southeast side within the past hour or so. A little bit further on the northwest side, far northwest side, there was a crash that was reported a little bit earlier on Ralph Fair Road, and we saw overnight a lot of sort of light ice accumulation on stretches of I-10 going from Bernie down south to 1604 and vice versa, the opposite direction. Also on State Highway 46, there was reports of light ice there as well. So if you look here, let's see, we pop this up. Yeah, we have a reported hazard here on 410 at Valley High. So that's something that we're going to continue to follow there. Again, a lot of this stuff has just kind of popped up within the past 10, 15 minutes or so as more people kind of make their way in and around the city of San Antonio. Looking here, we do have a crash being reported in the Converse area. This is at Norte Vista Way at Judson Road. So something that if you're traveling up 35 to the northeast side, going to have to be aware of that. Let's go ahead and clear these out here. Take away a couple of those. This is the biggest area. Again, we're seeing the southeast side kind of where we're seeing some of the most activity, but we are getting some stuff south of downtown as well. There was a crash being reported earlier at US 90 and Zarzamora, and then right here we're looking at I-10, and this looks like the Proban area right there. So crash in that area, and then a little bit further out east, we have a reported crash at FM 1518 on I-10 if you were headed out to Seguin. So a lot of different things popping up at the moment right now.
Yeah, a ton of stuff on the map. Hey, real quick, let's go out to Sarah. I think she's on the southeast side. Sarah Costa has been tracking some of this very carefully, traversing the roads. Do we have Sarah? There it is, right there. What are we looking at right here, right now?
Okay, so hey, Justin, we're about to turn right onto Southeast Military on WW White because that major crash that involved the VIA bus that RJ was talking about all morning is on what I'm believing is the southbound lanes of 410 near WW White South Cross area. So instead of us taking northbound 410, we're just going to get stuck in that traffic. Honestly, the roads are not very safe. We were a little nervous when we were on 281 southbound and 37 southbound. So we got off onto the frontage roads, and then I think it's safer for us to be driving on the frontage road to try to see if we can see that via bus crash that RJ has been talking about that closed down part of southbound Loop 410 near W.W. White and East South Cross Boulevard. Now, I'll tell you, so we're not seeing much on the roads here, but I will tell you, Justin, that driving on 37 northbound near the Alamo Dome area, when we just left there, there's a lot going on. A lot of first responders on scene. We saw several, what was it, 6 cars, Asian?
5.
About 5 cars
Wow.
heading northbound on 37 that had kind of, it was like a fender bender, lost control. Earlier, that's exactly the same spot where when we were driving, we started to lose control a little bit, and we were only going maybe 40 miles an hour. So
Yikes.
even if you are going slow in certain areas of the highway, it's really not ideal or safe. We fought for a long time when we were heading southbound on 37. A convoy of the TxDOT trucks just happened to get in front of us, and we followed them for a long period, and I believe they're just trying to brine the roads in that area. So when we were closer to the north part of the city on 281, we really didn't experience any of that black ice. I'm sure there might have been some in patches, but I think TxDOT really focused on those areas.
That's a good point.
Brining, but it was the south part of the areas that really hadn't gotten that attention, and that's where we were seeing a lot of issues. Asian, are you going to turn down 30? No,
South Cross.
that's South Cross. Go ahead and turn down South Cross to see if we can see that crash that RJ's been talking about all morning. So y'all want to see our viewpoint. Again, we are on W.W. White. We're going to turn around and head to see on the frontage road to see if we can see that crash involving the Via bus.
Okay.
So Justin, so basically what we've been seeing all morning there's definitely black ice along the highways, even in areas that aren't super elevated. Another area that we saw a lot of issues was right there on 281 near the Pearl. There was parts, at one point, a couple lanes were blocked off because there was a ice-involved crash there. Also, 37 southbound, right after the Southeast Military exit, there's a crash there. So the southern parts of the city are experiencing black ice, and not even in super elevated spots on the highways. And that's the scary spot. I mean, that's a scary thing, is a lot of people think, okay, I'm just going to avoid those bridges and those high surfaces, but we're kind of seeing it just on the highway where it's not even that elevated.
Well, I think
so
why that is, Sarah, and that's a really good point. I'm glad you said that. It's been so cold now. We've had, a day here of really cold weather, and now temperatures are down in the teens, so that's entirely possible.
Yeah, and like I said, we saw, I don't know, the convoy had about 4 trucks, TxDOT trucks or more.
Oh, it's probably about 6 or 7.
About 6 or 7 TxDOT trucks that were heading southbound on 37 to really brine that area, because those areas were having so many issues. Like I said, we saw a 6-car pile up on the northbound lanes of 37 near the Cesar Chavez exit. Now, I'm going to go ahead and change the camera real quick to see if we see anything. Now, so we are now on East South Cross Boulevard.
Okay.
Now, this crash involving the Via bus is right here off of 410, and we're going to see if we can see anything. We may not, and I just want you to stay with us just in case we do. I'm not really seeing things so far. I can see 410 already. Yeah, and it looks like it might be south of us. Oh, here we go. We're about to, Asian spotted it. We are going to turn right. So right now, when we turn right onto the frontage road, you're going to see a lot of flashing lights. This is right across to give you guys a landmark. You know where Holt Construction is off of 410?
Yep.
That is right there. Do you see those flashing lights, Justin? We're about to turn
Where are we
right.
looking?
You're going to see them now.
Okay,
Here we go.
yes. I
So
do
you see those flashing lights. This is the crash that RJ was talking about. We are at 410 near South Cross Boulevard. This is the portion of 410 South that is closed. Oh, there it is. Oh,
So
there is
is
a
that a via?
rollover involving a truck.
Okay, that's just that is a truck there. Okay.
That is not a Via bus. They do have that King Kong record out that is about to flip it over. Can you see that, Justin?
Yeah, we can see that.
There is a truck that has been flipped over, and they have the southbound lanes of 410 completly closed to get this off the road.
And that is a
And we
surface
see
road. That's
another
not
crash.
an overpass.
That's probably the Via.
Right. No, that on 410, yes, but it's not an overpass. It's a lower part of 410.
Yeah.
But now, ASEAN is going to move a little bit because we want to show you.
No, there's cars coming by.
Well, we have to move. There's cars. But if we're looking to the north, I know you can't see it in our shot,
Yeah.
but just north of this, on the northbound lanes of 410, is another big crash, and that might be the Via bus that RJ was talking about all morning.
Okay, what I'm going to do,
again,
guys,
so
is we're going to switch back to weather for a second. I'm going to check back in with you. So you guys take it slow, be really safe, and tell us what you see, and we'll check back in here in just a few minutes. That sound good?
Yes, thank you, Justin.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Be safe out there. And we are live on YouTube, and I do want to read some of the comments if you're watching us there. A lot of people asking, is it going to snow? The answer to that is no. This is mainly just freezing rain. When will the roads be safe to drive again? Probably not until noon today. Honestly, there's going to be slick spots until then. We're going to stay below freezing. The wind may help us dry out some, and we're still seeing the precip. We're kind of on the back edge of it here, but it's still happening, and this is still very, very much a problem. And folks are saying take alternate routes. And RJ, this is for you. This is a report from a viewer. I-10 at Fair Oaks is closed both sides. And RJ will have more on that in just a second. But let's get through the radar real quick. And meteorologist Mike Ostrich here with me. He's been here all morning watching all this kind of unfold. And if you weren't watching GMSA, the big news there, the MLK March has been canceled because of the weather and because of the slick roads. But we're still getting this just light precipitation continuing to move through. And this has never been heavy, but it's the temperatures that are causing the problems. We're right around, 20 degrees still, Mike?
Yes. 21, I believe, at last
21.
check. So,
and that's cold enough to where you're going to start seeing major issues. And just as Sarah was reporting, that's the scary part. It's not, in this case, it's not some of the elevated roads. It's the surface roads now that are beginning to get a little bit icy. And I think she made a good point, too, that, TxDOT has a tough job here. They can't treat all the roads. There's not enough material for that. But perhaps they focused down the north side, and it was the southeast side that is starting to get some ice. But we'll continue to watch that. And Mike's going to have a cut-in coming up here on TV soon. I'm going to hand you over the.
I'll take both of
one?
them. Yeah, sure. I'll take both of them. So.
So that's the beauty of our appcast. We're very casual here. We just kind of having a discussion, but we do have to do the TV side of it, as Mike will show you here in just a second.
And you'll see RJ pop up first doing.
All right, guys, 7:23 right now. If you're following us online, we have the appcast going where we're talking about all things weather and traffic right now. So let's give you an update on what we're seeing out there. There's been a lot of activity over the past hour or so. So this is a bit south of downtown. You can see how slow these cars are moving in this area. This camera there, I-10 at I-35. There was a crash reported earlier at Probant. So this is something, again, in this area that we're just kind of keeping in mind. You see traffic moving very slow in this area right now. We have, it looks like a collision out there on that side of town. The biggest part that we're looking at right here, biggest mess, I guess, is on the southeast side. We have two major crashes in this area, one including a reported 18-wheeler that was jackknifed, and another one potentially involving a reported Via bus. So we're trying to get information on that right now. Another crash there, Southeast Military. Again, it's been very busy throughout. We're going to continue to follow this. Mike will be right back with weather. We're going to go to break now.
hand tracker up too, so.
Yeah, it's still up. And I got radar. And folks, if you're watching us on the Appcast, we're still here with you. We're just getting stuff ready for the cut very quickly, and then we'll be focusing on. What does Sarah see?
After. And also what's going on too, folks, the producers and directors in the booth are talking to us and they're asking us what we want after we're done with this cut-in right now. Do we want to go back to Sarah Costa and AZ and Bermea, who are out there on the southeast side? They've been tracking a couple of different accidents that are out there this morning. So here's a little hint about what I'm going to be showing right after we do the cut-in, which is going to be coming up in just a couple of moments right here on TV. And then we'll come back to this Appcast. 1 minute away. So if you don't have to head out this morning, advice being just hunker down inside, because I was saying all morning long on the show that I walked out my back door. Didn't look bad at all. I mean, I really kind of, looked outside and looked out the window, nothing bad, and then hit the back deck, and boy, it was completely glazed over. All of the railings were completely glazed over as well, but it's not, it was so fine that it was so hard to see. And so, like Justin alluded to earlier, that's what we've been dealing with all morning long, is the fact that we've had this extremely light stuff. But, even like coming into work, the gate, the signposts, everything like that, just had that light glaze on them. And most of it was, I don't know about you, Justin, most of it was just in the form of some just fine mist out there. So, all right, hang on 1 second, folks. Going to be doing a cut in here.
Yeah.
And good morning, everybody. It is 7:26, and this is the camera that we've been looking at all morning long out there at the airport. And you can see the lens is definitely glazed over. And here's the reason why. We've got all of this very, very light rain, and it is pink. It is freezing rain, meaning it is freezing on contact. There have been some reports of even a little bit of some flurries up there right around San Marcos. But if you want to head out this morning, try and stay on the surface streets as much as possible, but there are even reports of a little bit of some light ice on some of those surface streets on top of that. Now, as far as temperatures, we had dropped down at one point yesterday afternoon. We were right at freezing. I believe that was right before noon, and temperatures continued to drop down, and then we've hit 20 on the hourly readings here, but 20s and teens all around the area. And this is going to be the situation throughout the rest of the morning, going into this afternoon. Maybe a peak of sunshine here and there, just barely above freezing.
Be in here and just, we're back on there.
I think, are we back up on the Appcast right now? Okay.
So Mark,
what were you saying, Justin?
Mark Austin's going to be with us here in a few minutes to talk about school closures. There are a few of those, although most people are out of school today. Most people are off work today, and that honestly, great timing. Great timing.
Yeah, unfortunately, as far as the MLK March, because that is such a huge event around here with tens of thousands of people that do take part in that. But for safety's sake, there was some icing on the roads and everything like that. But it is those wind chill temperatures, because we've had wind chills that have been down 5, 6, 9 degrees earlier this morning. And, that's one thing. To step outside and run to your car, run and take the trash out, something like that, that's not bad. But if you were to be outside for a few hours, that can just be dangerously cold. So that was a tough call, but a really good call to handle. So, yes, sir, you were pointing.
Well, I was going to say, that I got some pretty good stuff on
let's
TransGuide.
Okay.
I want to cycle through a few of these cameras.
We're going to switch over to RJ right now as we monitoring the roads.
All right, so let's see if we could find this one of the highways that was kind of shut down in this area. Let's see if we could cycle through some of these cameras here. We have this one right there, 35 at 37 South. You do see a couple of vehicles there off on the, looks like one of the overpasses there for 35 at 37. And again, this area, guys, has been very busy throughout the morning. I'm getting questions from people on our X/Twitter account asking, if maybe were these roads not treated, because we've seen a lot of different things pop up on this side of town. Let's see if we could go to another shot here. This is a little bit south of downtown, I-10 at 35, and you can see we have multiple emergency vehicles in this area right now. So there was a crash reported earlier that was on Provent. This is obviously, you could see the exit there for 10 at 35 at Roosevelt and Provent. So we are seeing traffic kind of get through this area, but again, it is just causing, there are some major delays, people driving pretty slow through here. 37 at Hackberry, again, southeast side, just been very busy out there, Justin. And again, I think a lot of people are kind of surprised that we're seeing this much activity in that side of town. And we've had those other, obviously those other crashes there on Loop 410 at WW White and Sinclair Road. But now TransGuide, we're getting a pretty clear picture exactly what's going on out there.
Yeah, you can just see that fine mist and that drizzle, but it's enough. It's enough to create icy roads. And there could be several reasons for why the southeast side of town is being hit harder. Maybe the precipitation's a little heavier. Maybe the roads, weren't as treated like they were on the other side. We don't know. I don't want to, guess wrong here, but all we know that it is very, very treacherous out there. And I think we still have Sarah Acosta. I wanted to check back with her and see what they're seeing there. They are on the southeast side. Sarah, what are you guys looking at?
Okay, so we just went southbound on the frontage road of Loop 410. Right now we're parked in a safe area, in a grassy area off of WW White and Loop 410. And just literally in this spot right here, two separate crashes. What you're looking at, that looks like some kind of old Tahoe or Suburban. I can't tell right now. They just flipped it over right before you took to us. So that was a rollover crash there. But I want to show you, as Azian Bermia, our photojournalist, is panning. I mean, just a couple of hundred of feet down is another crash that you're about to see that they're trying to load up. The back end of this, which I think is a Nissan, I mean, it was really bad, how bad the back end of this car was. They're about to load it up onto the tow truck. Again, we saw maybe 3 crashes just from our drive from South Cross, which is just north of us. So we took east-south cross on the frontage road of 410 heading south. We saw about 3 crashes just on the frontage road because, like you were saying, Justin, it's not just the elevated surfaces and bridges that are experiencing black ice. It's everywhere. We were in the neighborhood turning around to get this location, and just in the neighborhood, we're going super slow, like 10 miles an hour. Our live trucks started to skid just a little bit. So if you don't have to be on the roads, don't be on the roads. We're about to get back onto the road to show 410 to see. I know that y'all have been talking about all morning, that Via crash.
Yeah.
But again, this is just 2 incidences on the frontage road of southbound 410 near WW White. And we're seeing so many of these. Either it's a light bumper situation or it's cars, trucks that have been rolled over or involving several different crashes. So please, please, please be careful out on the roads today.
Y'all be very safe. Take it very slow, and if y'all are, need to park it somewhere, park it. Don't go too far. But we appreciate you bringing us this information. That's Sarah Costa and Azian Bermia out there for us in those conditions. And we're looking at the radar right now. I did want to add in Mark Austin here, who has some of the school closures for us.
Yeah, I can either be on your mic or I'm also wearing Anchor One, no IFB. All right, so guys, not everybody's on social media, and let's get you updated again, kind of a wrap-up of the school closures or delays. Most districts are out today because of the MLK holiday, but a number of districts were planning classes for today. Let's go down the list.
Yeah, we're off.
And then I've got a new one for you. So Blanco ISD closed today.
I don't know
Divide
if we stay on
ISD,
AFTAS or if I do.
and that is out northwest of, that's actually past Kerrville on I-10. They are delayed by 2 hours. DOS ISD outside Fredericksburg, they are canceled. Falls City CISD, they are closed today. Karnes City ISD closed. Kennedy ISD closed. Lavernia, same. Lakey ISD, 2-hour delay. Poth ISD canceled. Sabinal, they were going to be on a 2-hour delay. They are now closed. And the one I just found online, Justin, is Rock Springs ISD. They're on a 2-hour delay, but I'm going to keep an eye out just in case they close because they're typically in one of those colder, icier areas in our viewing area.
Sure. And then, of course, the other big news, Mark, was the MLK parade has officially been canceled,
yes.
correct?
And we haven't heard anything about if or when it will be rescheduled.
Okay. Very good. Well, not good, but that's the latest information.
You know, and then the other thing to think about, too, coming into tomorrow is there have been some schools, I believe, that have been delayed because of the very cold temperatures. So even though we're done with going to be done with the freezing rain this morning, the next couple of mornings are going to be dangerously cold. Wind chills we're looking at in parts of the hill country, even negative numbers.
Yeah, and when I walked in the door this morning, Justin, I swear I saw a couple of districts that already preemptively closed or delayed for tomorrow and maybe even Wednesday. Now, I can't find those right now, but we're going to kind of refresh our list as we go through the day and especially into tonight and early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a question I know my kids have, and a lot of kids have. Hey, are we missing school tomorrow? We can't answer that question. I would say that, in my professional opinion, that roads would probably be okay by tomorrow morning, but that's not up to us. That is up to the school districts and what they feel safe with. So obviously, if that is the case, we'll pass it along if we get any closures. But what we know right now is that there is still this precipitation tracking through San Antonio, and temperatures are near 20. Anything that's falling is now icing over, okay? So we're starting to see even some of the side streets, which is a little concerning, but certainly the bridges and the overpasses, and those bridges and overpasses especially, that haven't been treated. So, you know, most of the big ones here in San Antonio probably treated. Not going to say they're okay. I would just avoid them altogether. But it's those ones maybe out in the county where you're going over a creek, they haven't treated those, you can spin and slide really quickly. So just, if you can, stay on the service streets, or maybe just don't travel at all. That's the advice we can really give you this morning. But this pink stuff, that is the freezing rain that we continue to see moving through. It's all been light, but it's problematic, no doubt about it, with temperatures like this. 21 at the airport, 20 Hill Lotus, teens in the hill country, Comfort and Curvo. We have not been this cold since Christmas of last year, where we got down into the teens. But that did not come with precipitation. In this case, it does. It's usually hard for us to get this cold in South Texas with precipitation, but here we are. And of course, we've also been checking very closely with ERCOT. We know that supply and demand is going to be a little iffy tomorrow. That's not the concern, folks, and we don't want to panic anyone, because this is not going to be like 2021. But we have been in contact with ERCOT, and we continue to get updates from them. And if something changes there, so far power grid is just fine. 24 at 11 a.m., noontime 26. We're only up around 34 this afternoon. Now, Mike and I were talking earlier. We think that there could be some clearing late. The sun would help us a little bit, but it would take until late this afternoon for that to happen. So in the meantime, it's cloudy, it's cold, and then we see those temperatures slip back down into the teens tomorrow morning. Here's the big picture. And by the way, if you plan to travel across the state of Texas today, wouldn't advise it. It's not just here. So you go down I-10 to Houston, ice. Up I-35 to Dallas, ice. I saw pictures out of Dallas-Fort Worth. They got ice with a little bit of snow on top of it. That's even worse. Snow from Memphis up to Nashville. Mike, you said your son's up in Tennessee dealing with some snow up there, correct?
Yes, indeed. Asking me yesterday, he's in Knoxville, whether they should travel a little bit further off to the east. It's like, no, not today, because temperatures there in the 20s and a lot of snow up there. But, you know, the other thing, getting back to talking about the roads here, and you mentioned about surface streets that are starting to get a little bit iced over. That's the thing where you can be driving along and everything's fine. All of a sudden, you tap the brakes, and that's it. I know a lot of cars nowadays do have anti-lock brakes, but still, that feeling where your stomach kind of goes up into your throat,
sure,
and it's can be totally helpless. So that's why you just take it at a snail's pace in a situation like this.
And the situation we've seen before when we've had this kind of weather and we've had multiple accidents is that first responders then have to start prioritizing these accidents. And if you're in just a fender bender, maybe you just, dented your bumper or, something like that, you're going to be waiting a little while in the cold before first responders can get to you, because they're going to get to the more major accidents.
Another thing to also point out, we're looking at an incident here, and RJ can talk about this a little bit in a few moments, though. 35 at 37, it's on one of the interchange ramps. Yeah. If by chance you get into a small, fender bender, or even on the main roads of the highway, please stay in your vehicle.
Yeah,
if it is, do not get out, because, even
Can we
on
switch it over to TransGuide real quick, guys?
Even on a perfect day, don't get out of your vehicle on the highway or a ramp like this. But if somebody else doesn't see if you're on a ramp and coming around there and perhaps hits the same icy patch, they can run into you. That's just what I'm talking about. So stay in your vehicle.
Yeah, you see it right there. It looks like 3 cars here, RJ. that are on the ramp there, 35 and 37. That's near downtown, right?
Yeah, guys, a little bit that downtown area, obviously a very busy area there, 35, 37. So it looks like we had a couple of vehicles kind of spin out as they were getting off onto 37 southbound. So we do have this entire section blocked off at the moment right now. So this is obviously something that we're continuing to monitor. Again, downtown area, these overpasses, these busy interchanges, you do see traffic kind of getting through in some parts of here of the highways, but again, it's been very busy in those sections. Let's go ahead and show you some other shots here. This is this crash that we've been following, Loop 410 WW White. You see it's very kind of misty, hazy out there. Gotten a couple of emails from our viewers. Thanks again for just kind of giving us updates on this type of stuff. One viewer said that the rain, once it hits the ground, is essentially freezing up pretty quickly. So we are seeing a lot of activity here at 410 WW White. Again, there were multiple crashes reported in this area. Southeast Military, Loop 410 at Sinclair Road, and this one here at WW White. Let's see, take a look at some other ones here. This is south of downtown. We're looking at I-10 at 35, right before the Roosevelt Probant exit, and you see on the distance there that we have a couple of emergency vehicles out in that area. There was a crash reported earlier on 10 at Probant, so one of these other areas that we're watching. And let's see if we can get one more shot here. 37 Hackberry, again, just southeast side right now, 37 all over the place. Up and down Southeast Military, also up and down 37, headed to Loop 410. You see this is kind of where it connects to I-10 in this area there. So,
Are they
guys, it's
closing
been
that down,
very
RJ?
busy. I'm going to check on this one here just in just a little bit. Actually, going to call TxDOT to try and get us some more information on that 35, 37. What appeared to be definitely a closure there, but we do see traffic kind of trickling through this area there. But again, 37 Hackberry, we do have a pretty significant backup there. So guys, just kind of monitoring the cameras here, TransGuide, and obviously TxDOT has been updating their page to kind of give us more updates on a lot of different things going on across the area right now.
Appreciate you, RJ. Busy man this morning. And again, if you can stay off the roads, do it. Please. Mike, I'm going to pull up some KSAT Connect pictures for you here in just a second.
All right, while you're doing that, I was just going to say, if you, on a much, much lighter note, I know a lot of kids don't have school today. You want to do yourself a little science experiment. I used to always do this as a kid growing up in Michigan with these cold temperatures. If you have any small little balloons, fill them with water, tie a string around them, hang them on a branch outside. By tomorrow, in the next couple of days with these very cold temperatures, you'll have these perfect little frozen kind of teardrop shapes there in those balloons or anything like that, just to kind of play around with the ice. But again, if you step outside on your deck right there, I did this morning, and boy, oh boy, it was definitely slippery and you really can't see it. And this is the frozen, did I say frozen cedar pollen? It'd be nice if all this stuff would just freeze and go away.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what effect it has on the cedar. We'll see.
Because I know leading up to the mountain cedar season, a lot of times the very cold air and not being the tree person, but that can help with that. But yeah, hopefully this would kind of freeze it all right there. But look at that. It is, I know it is a pain, the cold weather, the icing and everything like that, but it is a beautiful picture there when you see that those kind of frozen branches right there. A couple of more shots, and notice all of the car windshields as well. So anything that was above the ground. The other thing, because we always talk about the ground was very, very warm. Saturday we were up in the mid 60s, but then yesterday, even starting at, 11 o'clock out at the airport officially, we hit freezing, and obviously cooler in the hill country. So as the ground, even the surface of the asphalt, the pavement on the roads, was below freezing for a while. Yes, you still have the warmth from the ground underneath, but that's why we are starting to see a little bit of that the freezing precipitation on some of the surface streets, as along with the elevated roadways. But this has been what we've seen a lot of. This is up at Fair Oaks Ranch, and just nice and iced over right there. We got a couple of more of these pictures around here.
What else we got? By the way, Mike, let me just tell people, if you can safely send in a picture to our KSAT Connect, we'd love to see it. It helps us know what you're seeing where you are. But be safe about it.
Because like we've been talking about, usually this always happens up in the hill country. We think about it going northwest, up above the escarpment up there going up I-10. But now it's been even further to the south. And, well, here we have, speaking of going up to the northwest, Bernie right off Sisterdale Road. And looks like we've got just nice little almost like a crystal carpet there.
I'll tell you what, though, those steps right there, right in the foreground, I would not want to walk down those.
Yeah. Again, anything, when you step outside this morning, even if you have concrete steps on your front porch, everything is going to have this little coating of ice on it. It doesn't look like it, but it is definitely there. Take my word for it. So do we have a couple more of these pictures
yes.
that we can show here, Justin?
Let me pull up. And I'm also monitoring the YouTube questions that we got coming in. So if you want to try to talk to us a little bit, give us some feedback. We are on live on YouTube as well.
Look at the spider web right there.
Oh, yeah, let's pull that up. That's comfort, Mike, and comfort.
Okay, that is absolutely gorgeous. Kind of reminds me of a picture from last year. I don't know if you remember this one, the windmill that kept going around and it had icicles all around on the windmill. But yeah, absolutely beautiful with that spider web. And this is just kind of evident of, how delicate are spider webs and how light was this rain. It was just this little mist and just enough to collect on that. So this is going to continue to go on for the next couple of hours. But again, we do have to emphasize, this is the dangerous thing, but the next couple of mornings, it's cold enough right now and it is going to be even colder the next few mornings with lower wind chill temperatures around here. So we are going to be seeing wind chills that are going to be single digits, even some negative numbers. So right now, as you can see, averaging 20 degrees. That's the temperature in Seguin. Kerrville at 17. Wind chill readings. We rarely see numbers like this around here. So 9 at the airport, 6 in Seguin, 4 is what it feels like in Kerrville right now. And the winds, that's a decent breeze, but not anything overly windy out there. So when you get these temperatures this cold, obviously, it doesn't take much to put those wind chills way down where it is just nasty out there. I need to grab a clicker so we can.
While you're doing that, Mike, I'll read off some of these comments that we're getting.
Okay.
One person said our main heater went out, using a space heater and heating pad now and can't wait for warm days. This falls in that 4 Ps category. Pets, people, plants, and pipes. People, if you do have neighbors that maybe don't have a heater, go check on them. This is starting to get into that realm where it's been cold for long enough that you don't want someone stuck inside their house without a heater. And with the space heaters, be so careful. We know how many fires can get started with space heaters.
And remember, don't use anything but a space heater or your heating system in your home to heat your home.
Yes.
Nothing else like that. Don't use the oven to try and heat it. Don't bring anything in from outside like that. If you do lose power, generators, keep them far enough away from the house so they are well ventilated and you don't get any of the exhaust coming on into your home. So yeah, check on folks and be extra careful with this. And also don't forget about in situation, we always think about if you have central air, changing the air filters out as well, because that's going to help it. And think about a couple other little things. The ceiling fan. When these very cold temperatures, switch it so as you look up at it, it is spinning clockwise, and that's going to then take the warmer air and bring it back down here to the surface since the warmer air rises. We were talking about wind chill temperatures, and this is what the forecast is going throughout the rest of today. Oops, let me go back to that graphic there, and
here, I got you, Mike.
Got me? Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. All right, 10. And is what the wind chill is right now, as we were talking about, and low single digits. Is this one going to advance?
It should. Try it.
Oh, there we go. Okay, maybe I hit the wrong button. So throughout the rest of today, we're still going to be dealing with these very, very low wind chill temperatures. As temperatures warm, I always hate to use that word in a situation like this, but we'll see wind chill readings come up somewhat. Still very, very cold. Then here's the big problem, and I think this is one of the most dangerous things in this situation, other than driving right now. These wind chill forecast temperatures this is for tomorrow morning. We'll have air temperatures in the upper teens and still enough of a breeze to put these wind chills down in the single digits and low negative numbers. So if you were with us about a half an hour ago when we were talking about school closures, there were some schools that still had class today, but they've closed because of the wintry weather. But some schools have already planned to delay class for tomorrow because of these extremely cold wind chill temperatures that are forecast for tomorrow. So best thing to do, check in with your school district to see if there are any delays tomorrow, because this, being outside for any extended period of time, you really, you think about heat index readings, how your body can't handle that. Your body can't handle this either, and that is definitely dangerously cold out there. RJ, any update on any of the roads or accidents?
Yeah, Mike. So 37, that was 37 north at Hackberry. That looks like we are now starting to see some traffic get through that area. We saw a little bit of bumper-to-bumper traffic there. 37 at Hackberry. I've been back and forth with TxDOT trying to figure out maybe what's going on the far northwest side. Remember, there was a crash reported earlier at I-10 at Ralph Fair Road. We've gotten some reports that that there is that I-10 in that area has been shut down, but right now TxDOT's saying that traffic is moving smoothly, as we can see from that TransGuide traffic shot. Take us back outside here, 410 WW White, very messy out there right now. Had reports of several crashes in the area, Southeast Military, South Cross. We saw that video from Sarah Costa a little bit earlier, and our photojournalist Asian of a couple of cars that just kind of spun out in that area. Let's see here. This is south of downtown, I-10, I-35, Roosevelt and Probant Street exit right there, and you could see there in the distance. I just saw TxDOT's page. It looks like we have a crash at 35 at Burbank. So something there for our drivers just south of downtown. And then biggest thing right now, and again, I'm literally texting right now with TxDOT back and forth. Yeah. So basically what you're looking at here, because we're trying to get some clarification on where this is exactly. We know it's downtown, obviously, but this looks like the 281 37 south to 35 north ramp. So again, this is right now completely shut down in this area. Looks like we had a couple of cars kind of spin outs here, and yeah, guys, it's gotten very busy out there. Obviously, you know, just if you can just avoid being out, that would be the best thing, especially in some of our elevated overpasses. Those areas right now, it's just been pretty busy out there, but we're kind of going back and forth with TxDOT to just try and figure out some of these trouble spots across the city.
RJ, thank you very much for staying on top of that. And just to give you a bit of a reset, we are live here on the KSAT app, the KSAT weather app. We're also live on YouTube. If you'd like to join us this morning, otherwise you can tune in to Good Morning America on TV. But we want to make sure we're here with you this morning, as travel is treacherous. There is no two ways around it, and RJ's been reporting it all morning. Now, as we look at the radar, we do have still some precipitation moving through, and you might be asking, well, that doesn't look like much, but it's enough. And some of this drizzle doesn't even show up on radar, okay? It's light, it's fine, it forms in the lowest part of the atmosphere, so sometimes the radar doesn't even see it. But it's there, and every little bit at this point, it just keeps adding on to what we've seen. I don't think we've had a lot of accumulation. Doesn't take much, as we've seen. These roads get slick, and where you have batches like this, just northeast of Elmendorf, that's where you're going to get some maybe quicker accumulation that may cause some more issues. This is near 181 and 1604 on the southeast side. I would imagine this is not a fun road to be on right now. We know that there are some overpasses there, and places like Lavernia, same story. I do need to mention that this cold air extends well to the south. So a lot of times we talk about 1604 being the cutoff, and north of that's where we get the ice, south of it it's liquid. Not in this case. Cold air is all the way south, Floresville down to Pleasanton. And so it's not just San Antonio at this point. A lot of spots, I would imagine, especially on these rural roads as you get out east, not good, where they're going, or, you know, if they haven't been treated, that's a real problem. And I think this is going to be a while longer. We have a winter storm warning in effect for most of the area, and this is going to go till noontime. We got wind chill advisories in place for wind chills in the single digits. We continue to see that. And yeah, it's shown a little blue there. There could be some snow flurries northeast of us. I don't think we'll see that here in San Antonio. So if the kids hoping for snow, that's not going to happen. But we are getting the ice, and that's honestly worse because it makes driving 10 times harder. And, you know, as RJ keeps checking in with TransGuide, it feels like we just keep getting more and more crashes starting to come in.
You were talking about accumulation out there on the Weather Service's website.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
No.
It doesn't say anything about any accumulation for, you know, going back all the way into yesterday. So either it missed that rain gauge out there, or like you said, it was just too fine. I mean, they don't even talk about traces there, but they have been reporting some. So.
Mike, I think your mic might be off. They're not picking you up. But what Mike was saying is there's very little accumulation being reported, which, okay, but again, there's just enough there, honestly, that that it's causing some issues. But Mike was looking at the observations at the airport, and it's not showing much. But we don't want you to think that then it's okay to drive, because it's honestly at this point not a good situation. Even on some of the surface roads now, starting to see those freeze over. And coming up, Mike's going to have another cut in on our TV side of things, because we want to make sure folks are updated there as well. But we're live on the app right now, live on the KSAT weather app, live on the KSAT app, and we'll be with you for a while longer. We'll stick with you until we get to our 9 a.m. show, where we'll certainly have some more updates. So, Mike, you want to take over here since you're...
Yeah, I was just once again checking to see if there's anything...
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Well, we know there is. It's interesting. It's not reporting.
It's out there, folks.
Yeah.
But and you'll know it when you step outside on your back deck and try and drive around. So yeah, and it just seems like it has actually been getting a little bit worse as the morning has rolled on. Obviously, the little bit of light precipitation didn't pick up until late last night. Of course, we were down below freezing for most of the afternoon yesterday and hovering around there 29, 30 degrees or so. And then some of that light precipitation moved in, and it's still falling around the area. And again, there may be some in here that's just that fine little mist on there. So Mark Austin has a quick note. Yes, sir. Yes.
Rock Springs just went from a 2-hour delay to canceled. Rock Springs ISD.
For today?
Yeah,
okay.
They just canceled. It moved from a delay to a cancellation.
Okay, he was saying Rock Springs ISD had been on a 2-hour delay. They have canceled classes for today. That's Rock Springs ISD has canceled classes for today. So we're about a little bit less than 30 seconds away from, about 15 seconds away from our cut-in. So we're going to pause here. We're going to have our TV cut-in. We'll come back on the Appcast.
All right, guys, 7:56 right now. You're joining us on the TV side. We appreciate that. We also have the Appcast going on ksat.com. Make sure to check that out for continuous coverage here. We are seeing a lot of different activity on the roads right now. Best advice would be just to kind of avoid a lot of overpasses, bridges, if possible. Biggest thing we're following right now, we have the ramp there from 37 to 35. That has been shut down. It looks like a couple of vehicles may have spun out in this direction, but either way, there is no traffic in this on this ramp there from 37 to 35. We have other traffic moving through that downtown area. Biggest area of concern we're looking at right now is on the southeast side, where there's been reports of icy roads, black ice. A lot of vehicles are having some trouble getting through this area. We had a report of a Via bus that potentially crashed here at WW White and 410, and then we have another major crash here being reported southbound 410 at Sinclair Road. Another crash being reported there on Southeast Military and 37. As far as the rest of the city, because I know we've been focusing a little bit more on the southeast side, downtown area, things have actually been looking okay. But again, in many of these overpasses, we're starting to see more ice kind of maybe accumulate in some of these roads. There is a crash being reported on the far northwest side at 1604 East and La Cantera Parkway. I saw the camera there a little while ago. It looks like a vehicle did spin out in that area. So we're seeing it all over the place, Mike. How are things looking outside? What do people need to know?
Yeah, about the same as what they have been for the past little bit. If this is our camera out there by the airport, we've been watching how this has just stayed kind of iced over. And it was just reported before we came on with this cut-in, we were on our Appcast, but Rock Springs ISD was on a 2-hour delay. They have canceled classes for today. And if your school did have classes scheduled for today, check and see what the status is. Here's what is going on right now. We still have a lot of these very light little sprinkles around here. The detectable freezing rain is continuing to work its way off to the east, but we may still have a little bit of this mist in behind. We have temperatures still in the teens right now, teens and low 20s, and then you can subtract about 10, 15 degrees from a lot of these numbers, and that's what it actually feels like out there. So best advice, if you don't have to head out today, just might as well hunker down. Hey folks, welcome back as we continue with our Appcast today. Just to keep you informed of what's going on here, and a lot of the light rain does continue. It's I don't even know if you want to call it rain. I mean, it's this fine mist out there, but you have these temperatures that are well below freezing. All right, we've got an updated list of some of the school closures. I want to keep you updated with this. So, canceled classes. Not everybody was off because of the holiday today. Maybe they had to make up for some time or something. But so canceled classes today: Blanco, Sabinal, Doss, Rock Springs, Falls City, Karnes City, Kennedy, Lavernia, Poth. All of these school districts have canceled classes for today. And a lot of the other, of course, the MLK March was canceled. Here's a couple other ones with a delayed 2-hour start: Devine and Lakey. So you have a delayed 2-hour start today for those. But the other ones that we had on the other list had canceled today. And of course, if you have not heard, maybe you're just waking up this morning, of course, the MLK March was canceled just before about 6:30 or so this morning when we got official word about that, just because of the road conditions out there were just too treacherous, and these temperatures out there. To have folks, outside for that long a period was just going to be downright dangerous, because we've got temperatures right now that are in the teens and 20s, but you subtract from that, and that's what the wind chill feels like. So we've got wind chills down in the low teens and even single numbers and low single numbers. And that's what the problem is going to be for the next couple of mornings, is those wind chill temperatures that will be just dangerously low. I mean, we're going to be looking at some wind chill temperatures up in portions of the hill country down into the negative numbers tomorrow morning. So we do have winter storm warnings in effect for San Antonio up I-35 off to the east throughout the rest of the morning up until noon, to take into account some of this light freezing rain that's out there. Then also, we do have wind chill advisories till Wednesday and hard freeze warnings up in effect up until Wednesday as well, because these temperatures by tomorrow morning will be in the upper teens. That's here in town. Upper teens here in town, and even mid to lower teens in portions of the hill country. This is what it looks like as far as the rest of today is concerned. Temperatures are going to be staying bone-chillingly cold, just in the low 20s. This is here in town. We'll still be dealing with a little bit of this light precipitation, maybe a little bit of that mist. But again, with these temperatures that are down well below freezing, it just almost instantaneously freezes on contact. And throughout the rest of the day, a peak of sunshine. Wouldn't count on a lot, peak or two of sunshine here and there, and that should get temperatures just barely above freezing. Now, that doesn't mean everything's going to instantaneously melt, because it's not going to last all that long. Breezy conditions, that will kind of help us out. And then as the air dries out, I know it sounds kind of funny to say that the ice is going to dry out, but yes, it would, if you will, dry out and sort of evaporate. And that's going to be the situation. So that will help to dry out some of the roads. So, and then as more what little traffic drives on the roads, that's going to help things out as far as that is concerned. So one nice thing is we're not going to have to be dealing with any more precipitation after late morning this morning, just those dangerously cold temperatures. RJ, any update on traffic issues?
Yeah, taking a look here south of downtown I-10 at I-35, and you could see from that TransGuide shot there that they are reporting an accident there. A little bit further down the road, 3 lanes are blocked right now if you are headed on I-10 East. So again, this is a shot there from I-10 East headed to 37. There's another shot there, TransGuide shot, and I'll call them in just a little bit, see if we get a little bit more information. Maybe we can give you that look. But again, you can see that there's not very many drivers to begin with in this stretch of a highway there at I-10. But again, it is still causing we do see some major delays in this area. So I-10 at 35 East, if you are in the Probant, Roosevelt area, we've seen a lot of different activity on the south side of town. Let's see if we could look at one other shot here. Loop 410 WW White, we still have emergency vehicles out there. They've been out there for a couple of hours now. A lot of different things going on in this area. We had a major crash involving an 18-wheeler a little bit further north of this TransGuide camera there. That was going to be at Sinclair Road and 410. So right before the Rigsby area, kind of just, again, a messy, sort of busy area altogether right there. So we just saw that shot there. This is a ramp that has officially been closed. So this is 37 and 35 in the downtown area. This looks like the intersection there between 35 and 37 south. So something I'm kind of going back and forth with text out about. If you look over here to to what would be the left of your screen, then you'd see that we do have some vehicles there that have apparently maybe spun out there. But either way, 35 at 37, that has been shut down at the moment. I know we haven't had many chances to look at our maps, but here we have kind of an indication of what we're looking at. We still have a crash being reported, FM 1518. If you have to head out to the Seguin area, keep that in mind. Of course, we have everything going on the southeast side. There's our crash there, I-10 at Provent, and we also have another reported incident there at Loop 410 and High Valley Drive. So something there on the far west side. This is just popped up on our maps a little while ago. Crash being reported 1604 eastbound at La Cantera Parkway. And I saw the TransGuide shot a little bit earlier. It looked like a car or some type of vehicle did sort of spin out in that area. So one more quick look here at TransGuide. You see that we have got a lot of things going on, Justin. We've been talking about just, you know, this, it seems like this kind of snuck up on a lot of drivers, especially in many parts of our town, the southeast side, and it's still very, very dangerous conditions out there. Just try and stay off the roads if possible.
Yeah, I'm you know, it's a good thing that we don't have a lot of folks who don't have school and work today. Obviously not a good thing that MLK March was canceled, but we don't have a lot of people on the road because I think it could have been a lot worse. But yeah, things are icy, and you would know better than I would, RJ, that I don't ever remember seeing that much yellow on the map, and I hope that means that everyone's just kind of taking it slow, right? I mean, that indicates speeds that on the map, the yellow color.
Yeah, we're definitely not seeing people travel at any sort of high rate of speed. You remember when we had Sarah and Asian out there, I think they said they were driving about 40 miles an hour down. They were going from 281 to 37 to kind of see what the situation was out here. So
yeah,
again, people basically, if they are on the roads, kind of for the most part, being a little bit careful, but it's kind of the black ice, you know, those kind of dangerous spots on the roads that you just do not see if you're headed out, and any sort of movement can cause your vehicle to spin out, especially if you have one of these higher profile vehicles. Mm-hmm. You know, those are, again, as someone who's driven a Jeep my entire life, I know that those can definitely get fishtail or get a little bit tricky out there. But yeah, we've seen several vehicles kind of spin out on a lot of these ramps and a lot of these interchanges. So, but for the most part, it looks like people are being cautious out there if they have to be on the roads right now.
Good. Mark, what do you got?
Mario has signed off on doing cut-ins every half hour as needed.
Okay.
Outside of news programming.
Okay. So that's from our news director. We're going to probably cut into TV every half hour too for folks that are not watching us digitally, so we can get you up to date. I did want to show you a picture here. This is from KSAT Connect, and we've been getting a lot of good pictures. This is interesting. So it says, my husband figures if he has to drop the faucet, we should at least make icicles. Yeah. And I'm assuming he meant wrap the faucet, but regardless, that looks cool. You can get some cool formations out there. So yes, we can have a little bit of fun with this too, but on the other side of this, please be careful. We can't emphasize that enough. And I want to ask the director or producer, do we still have Sarah and Asian with us, or are they, we do not have them right now? Okay. Yeah, they already came back to the station. So
precaution to keep them off the road.
You know what? I think it's a great idea. You know, we're telling people not to drive, so we probably won't be out there doing that as well. I think that's probably not a bad idea, but they were able to show us some of the things that were going on out there along the east side along 410, which has just been a horrible, horrible stretch. Mike, could you put it back on radar for me, and let's kind of start things back up, because I think we probably have some new people joining us now. If you're watching us on the app or on YouTube, we've been going for about an hour now, and the bottom line, we just want to keep people updated on what's going on. You may be just waking up because you have the day off, and what I can tell you is the roads have been bad. We've had numerous crashes. RJ has been a very busy man this morning with reports coming in all over the place of crashes. So here's what we got. You may be looking at the radar and saying, that is not much at all. Why on earth would we be worried about this? Well, a lot of times a slight drizzle, and it's been a really fine mist and drizzle, doesn't necessarily show up on radar that well. A lot of times it's in the lower part of the atmosphere, so the beam overshoots it and you're just not seeing it. But we are getting some returns, and this is where you're going to get some of that, getting some heavier freezing drizzle or maybe freezing rain there around Seguin. But here in San Antonio, maybe the precipitation is starting to wind down a little bit. We'll have to check in on that. I'll go outside here in a second, just take a look myself, because again, sometimes it doesn't show up on radar. But as we head into mid-morning, I think we'll lose some of the precip, but that doesn't mean we'll lose all the ice. We've just had several spots where, it's not much accumulation at all, but it's enough to where you get some slick spots. It's been a lot of the bridges and overpasses, but even some of the surface roads that aren't well traveled, maybe weren't treated, are picking up some ice, and we've had some crashes there. So let's talk about black ice and what that is and what it means for folks that are traveling. So when your road temperature is below 32, and just about every road in San Antonio is at this point, you get a very thin layer of ice that accumulates on the pavement, and the transparency helps to blend in with the pavement. You can't see it, but it's there. And we're going to see this for several more hours. So that's why we're getting some of these spinouts and, unfortunately, a few rollovers this morning because they hit this patch of ice, and next thing you know, you don't have control of your car, and that is not a good thing. Let's take a look at freezing rain accumulation and to see what we're looking at there. So this is additional, and notice all these numbers are just really, really low. It's not much, but it's enough, and it's been mainly, San Antonio down along I-35 and then across southeast Texas. This has kind of been the corridor here where we've gotten a lot of the reports. Doesn't mean that we're not seeing it in the hill country, because we certainly are. We had some crashes between San Antonio and Bernie, but that's where the moisture perhaps was just a little bit better. And we got a little bit more accumulation, especially on the southeast side of San Antonio, I think. And that may be one of the contributing factors to having more crashes down there along 410 on the southeast side. I'm going to take this off, and we'll switch it back to temperatures. Our radar, I should say. Actually, let's look at road temperatures real quick, because we talked about the black ice. Let me see if I can pull this up. Maybe I can't. I don't know why that's not working.
What do you need here?
Can you pull up the road temps for me, Mike? Let me get out of the way. That's probably interfering.
Yeah. Need to find my. There it is. So okay.
Always hard to find the mouse. It's so small. Is it not pulling up? Interesting. Oh, you know what it is, Mike. I got it.
Okay.
This is my fault. User error happens from time to time. I got to turn this off. It's still not turned off, I don't think. Sometimes it gets stuck. See if you can turn it off, Mike, because it's not letting me. Just
Okay,
turn up the freezing rain.
I'm having trouble finding the.
Well, that's because I was standing in front of it. Yeah.
There, I'll turn that off.
There we go. That's what I.
Okay, now.
Yeah. So there is the light freezing rain that we've been watching through the morning. A few patches that are a little thicker as you get into parts of Guadalupe County, working up towards the city of Seguin. So I would imagine there's some slick spots up there too. And I think, RJ, you reported there was a crash along I-10 East right between here and Seguin. So we know that there on the interstate it's pretty slick too. Hey, Mike, one more favor if you don't mind. Let's pull up temperatures on max. And
there we go.
21. Yeah, we outperformed what a lot of the computer models said we get down to. We were thinking mid-20s. We're down to 21. So that's why these things are just, whatever we're seeing is just freezing so very quickly. 18 Bernie, 17 Comfort, 21 is what it feels like, or that's the air temperature, I should say, in Rio Medina. The feels like number's way worse because we still have a north wind that's putting wind chills in single digits. And RJ, it looks like you got a shot there on TransGuide. What are we looking at there?
Yeah, right now looking at, let me see, that is the 10 at 35 shot. Again, we've been reporting here. Let me go back to our TransGuide shot here. Okay, here we go. I-10 East at 35. There was a report of a crash there that basically just kind of shut down the highway in that area there. So around the Probant kind of Roosevelt area. So the camera earlier was directed in the opposite direction, showing you basically a warning from TransGuide saying that there was a crash ahead. And so this looks like a much clearer view of what we're looking at here. I-10 East at 35. But glad you came to me here. Just wanted to kind of update everyone. So this is, I'm looking at TxDOT's website right now, and it looks like we now have a crash being reported at 37 North and I-10, and let me see, we got this camera there. Okay, so that's a little bit further south at Hackberry, so that's something to keep in mind. One other thing, they have actually shut down the ramp from 35 south to US 90. So that's kind of in the downtown area. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so if you're looking at your map, that would be south of downtown, right before you get to US 90, and that's going to be affecting our traffic kind of in the Nogalitos area. If you're coming down from Ceballos, that's going to be an area there to just kind of keep in mind. The other trouble spot that just popped up is 1604 at La Cantera Parkway. We do not have a camera up there right now at the moment, but you could see that our maps are basically indicating that we have, and now it looks like maybe a couple of crashes out there. So I'll call TransGuide, see if we could get a shot here from our media wall. But you see a lot of activity here on the south side, southeast side. Biggest thing throughout the morning was this crash right here that involved a jackknife 18-wheeler. It completely shut down Loop 1604 there at Sinclair Road. And we are also seeing a crash now being reported a little bit south of, looks like a 90 there at 410, so on the west side. And then we have one here being reported at General McMullen. So a lot of activity, guys, on the south side of town. Justin, you mentioned that other crash for our viewers that if you have to head out on I-10 and going towards Seguin, just look at that back up there. We have pretty good delays in that area if heading up to 1518 in Seguin. See if we can see a couple more of these shots here. It looks like we're getting more emergency crews out there at Loop 410. WW White had a crash being reported there. And then this one here, we have a complete shutdown of the ramp there at 37 South at 35. So looks like a couple of vehicles have spun out there a little bit earlier. Yeah, it's a lot of different things now popping up, and it's, you know, we're starting to see this stuff on our cameras now, so that's good. And but you still see some people out there in the roads. Again, just try and avoid it if possible, or at least stay away from the overpasses, these bridges, and these busy interchanges.
Yeah, those flyovers can always ice over. And you know, another point of emphasis, and we talked about this earlier. If you do spin out, don't get out of your car. Especially if you're in the middle of the road or something like that. We've seen this so many times before. Another car slides into you. It gets incredibly dangerous. So just get on the phone to first responders first and foremost. If this is something that happens to you, hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully you just stay at home this morning and avoid this altogether. But I know some of us do have to work. So try to take the side streets if you can. That's the best advice we can give you. What I'm going to do here is pop up visibility. And so, again, I said that maybe you're not seeing it on the radar, you're not seeing the freezing drizzle, but what we can do with visibility here is kind of see where some of that drizzle is coming down, because it is going to reduce visibility a little bit. We're seeing that around Port SA and Stinson, Pleasanton, 2.5 miles. So likely the fog and drizzle, a little bit heavier there. Same story around Gonzales. So that's what we've kind of been noticing. It's been kind of the southeast side of Bexar County, perhaps. It's been hit the hardest in our eastern counties, and that's also where that winter storm warning is kind of situated. It covers those counties for that reason, and that winter weather advisory goes pretty far to the south because these temperatures are cold all the way to the south of us. It's not just here in San Antonio. Let's see if we can pull up. We have a winter weather advisory graphic that I can show you. Take me a second to pull it up here, and I'll show you where the winter storm warning is kind of situated. And it's with that idea in mind that it's kind of San Antonio and points east, where if we're going to see any accumulation, that's perhaps where it's been. So these areas in pink are where we have the winter storm warning. And this is going to go until noontime. But I think this does a good job of kind of outlining our area of concern. San Antonio, New Braunfels, Austin, LaGrange, Gonzales, over to Pleasanton.
And think about it, because most people, and as we've been talking about, if you were to take that pink area and kind of flip it over and flop it onto the hill country, that would be in most situations where the warning is. From San Antonio 35 northwest, not southeast and east. Well,
and the reason for that, Mike, is usually because we have colder air up there, right? In this case, this colder air has spilled all the way south to Corpus Christi. I mean, there are winter weather advisories all the way down there. And then it's where the better moisture content is in the atmosphere, and that really has been kind of on this line right here. And so if you're watching this from the hill country, it's cold, and you may have seen a little bit of drizzle, but the better precipitation, honestly, has been down to the south and east. It's a bad situation where we got the two things coming together, and then we're getting these winter storm conditions. Let's go over, let's see. Let me see if
What else do you want?
Hey, pull up temperatures for me, Mike. Let's go over those one more time.
Okay.
By the way, if you have any questions, I'm going to check the YouTube account as well. We like to answer questions if we can.
I'm in your show here, so I'm trying to find out where.
Yeah, sorry.
Here we go. Here's some.
I'm not disorganized at all.
No, that's okay. Makes it that much more fun.
Yeah.
And when you think about temperatures as well, we've been talking about how the next couple of days, well, like you were saying, how the models kind of underperformed as far as how cold it was going to be getting here. We were talking about the mid-20s today, but no, it's low 20s and teens. These are numbers that we're looking at now for tomorrow morning as well as Wednesday morning, or even subtract a couple more. But this is pretty much within a few degrees what the temperature is going to be the next couple of mornings. So be prepared for that. And in a lot of places, you won't get above freezing today. It's going to be a real slim margin if we get above freezing today, maybe
Sure.
a degree or two, but parts of the hill country will stay below freezing today, overnight, tomorrow, maybe creep right above 32 degrees by tomorrow afternoon.
And I think, it's kind of astounding this year that we had, I say this year, this from summer till now. In the summer, we had days where we were at 106 plus for a couple days, and now we're dealing with temperatures 25 and below or 32 and below for several days. So a lot of extremes heading our way recently, and it makes it tough. I feel bad for the plants.
Well, even think about it. Saturday, we were, in shirt sleeves.
We were. And, plants, yes, obviously an issue, but the people too. We talked about this earlier. If you have a neighbor that does not have heat, bring them in because this is starting to get into that territory where it can get somewhat dangerous. And obviously folks that are, Haven for Hope, I know, is opening their doors because we've got to keep people safe in this situation. It's cold on top of the treacherous, icy conditions that we've been dealing with most of the morning. 18 in Bernie, 17 Comfort, 21 New Braunfels, 21 in Gonzales, 24 in Pleasanton with freezing drizzle coming down there. And I'm going to switch over now to, let's look at wind chill values because that's another side to all this that has been so very brutal.
Which, speaking of that, when we have the winter storm warning, like you said, that's in effect up until noon today, but then there are still the wind chill advisories and the hard freeze warnings.
Correct.
In effect tomorrow as well as Wednesday. So this really cold air will be sticking around for the next couple of days, which can be even a worse, we always think about icing as just like the be-all, end-all, the worst, but this is going to be, like you said, really, really dangerous.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, and I could be on this, but this is purely just coming from my memory. I think this is the coldest wind chill we've seen since the big freeze of 2021, if memory serves. Now, I know we got down to the teens last year, but I don't think we had winds with that. This case, we do. And, these wind chill values, 9 here in San Antonio, 10 in Boulevardy. We'll look it up.
Let me check the archives here and see what.
Yeah, do that because now listen, I don't want to compare it to 2021 either because this is not that. We have power. We're doing okay right now. The output and the supply and demand tomorrow for ERCOT, it looks like it's a close call, but ERCOT is still saying we're okay. They've put out a plea to, conserve if you can. But it looks like we're okay, so I don't want people to panic. But we are keeping a close eye on what ERCOT is doing, and it would be tomorrow morning. That would be the biggest issue if we were going to have one. There's a look at the current wind chill, and I want to show you the high temperatures for today. So here's what we're thinking, maybe around 30 or 34 or so, and then as we get into tomorrow morning, these are the lows. So this is why, electricity use and gas use is going to be at a high demand because you have temperatures. These are air temperatures forecast for tomorrow morning. 17 in San Marcos, 14 in Canyon Lake, 13 in Curva, 14 in Bandera, 19 here in San Antonio. That's just brutally cold, and that's when you have to start worrying about pipes too. And it's not just tomorrow morning because we do this all again Wednesday morning. And that's why we just got an extended stretch here where it is going to be very, very rough. The biggest story this morning, though, if you're just joining us, has been the roads. We've had several crashes. There is ice on a lot of the roads, especially we're finding out east and southeast side. But no matter where you go, you're going to want to take it very, very slow. It's been kind of a skating rink in spots, depending on where you go, here around San Antonio this morning. And RJ's been just covering all these crashes that they've come in, and they're coming in by the bunches still, RJ?
Yeah, they definitely are, Justin. So what you're looking at now is TransGuide shot there near the Alamo Dome. Remember, we had Sarah and our photojournalist Azian out there much earlier, and they were reporting early on from when they left the station they were initially going up 281, and then we brought them back to 37 about ice being in that section of right there, right by the Alamo Dome. So we're looking at 37 North. There at Houston Street. If you're coming from that opposite direction, you see that's right there at the Cesar Chavez Boulevard exit right there. So 37 North, that's something that we just saw pop up. 37 at Hackberry, a little bit further south, we do have some emergency vehicle activity there. And let's see if we could show you some more here. WW White, of course, that one's kind of been an ongoing situation out there for many of our drivers east to southeast side. So the reason you're not seeing any traffic move through here is because emergency crews have went ahead and shut down the 90 and 10 ramp. So there was a crash reported in this area here on the eastbound lanes of 10. That has been cleared out, but even if you're saying to yourself, oh, well, 10 is open now. No, that's not the case, because that interchange there has been shut down to even get onto 10. So that's right there, the interchange at 90 and 10 has been shut down. TxDOT reporting that just a little while ago. And then we have this other ramp / interchange that has been shut down as well. The ramp there at 35, 37 in the downtown area. Want to show you real quick our maps, because if you go to the far northwest side, so if you're looking at your screen, it's going to be on your left. Out there on 1604, we have a couple of crashes being reported there. 1604 eastbound at John Peace Boulevard, and then a little bit further west, 1604 at Babcock Road. So we're going to have a couple of incidents there on the far northwest side that is now starting to pop up. But you kind of see mostly generally the downtown area, a little bit southeast and west. Keep in mind, Loop 410 right now is completely shut down there south of Rigsby Avenue. So again, Loop 410 shut down because of a jackknife 18-wheeler. You're not going to see any traffic getting through there. And it looks like we have some major interchange ramps and things of that nature shut down now in the downtown area. 35 at 37 and I-10 at 90 being the two big ones there, Justin. So
yeah, you know what? I just talked about power outages, RJ. And just like that, on CPS outage map is now showing that about 2,900 people or customers are out of power around the SeaWorld area. We're trying to gather more information on this, but it's a small area, but anyone without power right now, that's not fun. That's just off of 151, again, right around the SeaWorld area. I'll zoom in a little bit. So basically from John Paul Stevens High School up along 151 there is where we're detecting this, or CPS is detecting this power outage right there. So we want to be careful. And folks without power there, that's not a good situation. So we're going to gather more information about that. We'll have certainly much more coming up at 9 o'clock as far as that is concerned. We mentioned ERCOT. So far, so good. Now, I don't know that this may be an ERCOT issue, may not. We don't know.
Jumping in now on the cut-in, Justin. We are still streaming wall-to-wall on the KSAT app right now, our appcast. So if you want to check us out online or go to the KSAT app to get the very latest on your weather and traffic coverage. So for the on-air side, the TV side of things, hopefully you guys are being safe out there, because we're seeing a lot of different things pop up on TransGuide right now. So basically what you're seeing right here is no traffic get through I-10 at 35. It was I-10 eastbound there that we had a crash, but then they ended up shutting down the I-10 at 90 interchange ramp. So we're not seeing any traffic move through this area right now. Also kind of in the downtown area, 35 at 37 South, you could see we had a couple of vehicles that spun out earlier in this as getting off of this ramp there, 37 South at 35, and we have emergency crews out there. But again, this ramp, this interchange has been shut down also there for the moment. Taking a look at our maps, and again, we still have 410 South. That is shut down at Sinclair Road. 2 accidents being reported on the far northwest side, La Cantera Parkway, and also Babcock Road on 1604. All right, Mike. How are things looking now?
Well, I mean, not much has really changed. This picture definitely hasn't changed. Hey, one thing I want to point out, just got reports of a power outage from CPS. It's over by the SeaWorld area over here on the west side of town, John Paul Stevens High School, right in there. About 2,900 customers are without power. Now, obviously, they can't be watching us right now, at least on television. You know somebody in that area, you may want to go in there and perhaps check on them, because obviously being without power in a situation like this is not great. A lot of the rain continues to work its way off to the east, the light freezing rain. We still have a few little pockets here and there, and this will continue to work its way off to the east throughout the course of the morning, and then we'll just have cloudy skies, maybe a peak of sunshine later on today. Temperatures right now in the teens and low 20s. Will top off today at 34. All right, everybody, welcome back. And we're going to continue on until we get to our 9 o'clock news. And we just obviously broke for a TV cut-in during Good Morning America. And what we can see right here is that a lot of the very light rain, and this is kind of going along with what we had been forecasting, and a lot of what the computer models were showing, that this is going to continue to kind of edge its way off to the east. Now, that doesn't mean that there is not anything still left over in here. There may be a couple little speckles here and there, but in the metropolitan area, a lot of this has finally come to an end, and now we are starting to see more of it work its way off to the east. So that's going to be, yes, sir. Oh, I thought you were looking over. I thought you had something to throw in.
I do have a storm pins picture, or I'm sorry, KSAT Connect picture that I wanted to share, but continue your thought real quick.
Well, no, I was just going to say that at least we won't be adding to it. Now, it's going to be a while for a lot of this to melt with these very cold temperatures, but it will improve as the day goes on. What's the picture,
Not
Justin?
that this is a humorous situation, but this is kind of a funny picture that we wanted to share. That's the end result of someone slipping on the deck there.
Oh.
If you get the idea there, the print, yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, that doesn't look nice.
No. I hope they were okay. I mean, you kind of plop down like that.
That's in Natalia. It said, my son was checking on his generator because they had been without electricity since 6 a.m. Now, that's not good. But, yeah, that deck is slippery. And you had that this morning.
The exact same thing. And, to look at this, if you're not looking at the imprint, you're like, okay, it's just the deck is weathered and it's gray looking, but that's just all that light little icing right on there. And then where he decided to have a landing right there. And again, not a funny situation. Glad he's okay. Kind of laugh at it. So here's another couple of KSAT Connect pictures from around the area. And the good thing is, and we've been talking about how light this has been. I've seen a couple of reports that maybe the Highway Department reported a 1/100th of an inch of precipitation, 2/100ths of an inch, which, yeah, that obviously makes things very slippery. But we're not getting that big buildup on a lot of the tree limbs. So yes, it is very beautiful out there when you have that very minor coating on there, but it's light enough to where most trees can handle it. So we haven't been seeing a lot of power outages because that. Speaking of which, though, we do have that power outage on the west side of town over there, 151 John Paul Stevens High School, in and around the SeaWorld area. CPS, obviously, they're going to get their crews out there as quickly and as safely as possible to try and remedy that situation. A couple of other of the storm pins pictures out there. And again, we really appreciate these pictures. I mean, it does tell the story. Even that one that we're kind of having a little chuckle with, but that, just kind of reinforces the fact that any elevated surface, a highway or even your back deck. And here's another shot out there. And this is Fair Oaks Ranch area. And is that a tree that has fallen?
I think it's just no tree, but the ice looks thick on there for sure.
But yeah, and in places the ice has been obviously a little bit thicker than in other spots. And most of the time we would think of all this as being up further to the northwest, but a lot of it has actually taken place on the southeast side of town as well. So a couple of other shots around the area. The spider web, which had just those little bit of icing on it, almost didn't even look real because it was so delicate looking. That spider web right there, which is just a great picture. I love that. Yeah. And again, testament to how light, and it was just a fine mist at times. But when you have these colder temperatures, I mean, it doesn't take anything to make it damp. So, all right, visibility, and we've been talking about how that it's so light, but in some places just sort of hanging in the atmosphere a little bit. So visibility over there at Port SA is down to 5 miles, 3 at Pleasanton, and usually we're showing this map when we have to deal with fog, but obviously we're not seeing fog in a day like this because we've got a pretty good wind out there. You're not going to see any fog, but this is just, again, that mist that's sort of hanging out there as of right now. And it really started, we were seeing a couple of sprinkles. I saw a couple yesterday at my house during the afternoon, and then about 8, 9 o'clock, Justin was saying that we saw some of these sprinkles move on in here, and temperatures continued to drop down throughout the afternoon. We were at freezing right about 11 o'clock in the morning, so it has almost been, I mean, we're at what, 20 hours right now, 21 hours almost below freezing here in town. Obviously more in portions of the hill country, and that will continue on if indeed we do get above 34 degrees today. Obviously, it will warm up a little bit, but it's back down to roughly the same temperatures that we are seeing right now. We're going to be in the upper teens tomorrow morning as well as Wednesday morning. Plus, we've got the wind chill. So these brutal wind chills that we're going to be dealing with. And some of the models are already showing wind chills in portions of the hill country that are going to be down in the negative numbers, like -5, close to -10. So just dangerously cold out there. We will barely make it above 35, but it's going to feel a whole lot better tomorrow with some of that sunshine out there. After the cold start Wednesday, it's back up to 46 degrees. Thursday, we don't hit freezing. That's here in town, obviously in the hill country, hit freezing. Another front's going to move through here, but got to emphasize, nothing on the map, any precipitation wise. This one's coming through dry. It's not going to be anywhere near as cold. Barely freezing, right below freezing. And then we do have another chance for a little bit of rain by maybe next week, Sunday late, perhaps into Monday. Once again, here's a look at radar right now, and just a few pockets of the detectable very light rain. Again, earlier this morning, Weather Service really decided to crank up the sensitivity of this so we could see some of this very light stuff out there. Hey, RJ, anything new to report on the highways and byways?
Yeah, Mike, just kind of surveying TxDOT's website right now. You see a lot of different things across the city. Again, we're trying to get a little bit more information on what looks like a vehicle that spun out on the far northwest side out there by UTSA Boulevard. So that was on 1604 East at John Peace, and then we also had another crash reported a little bit further down the loop on 1604 and Babcock. So again, some other things that we're just kind of monitoring here. We see a little bit more activity in the downtown area right now. Let me see if I could find out what exactly is going on there. 37 northbound now. We've seen a lot of different things there on 37 in Hackberry, and also 37 Southeast Military a little bit further south. So definitely something that we are continuing to monitor. So a lot of different little things sort of popping up throughout our area. If you go to the west side, we're looking at 410 right there at 90. We've had a crash out there for the better part of about an hour or so. That has blocked a couple of the main lanes there at 410, and then a little bit south of downtown there at I-10 and 35, the Probant area. And then also we're looking at 410 southbound is still shut down in the southeast side there. Okay, so we have a lot of these sort of interchanges and ramps that have been closed down for the moment. Looking at 35 and 37 south, we have that one that has been shut down. And then we also had one at I-10 and 90, and basically this is the feeder to right there, I-10 East. So you see right now no traffic is getting through there. There was a couple of major incidents there earlier this morning. Let's see if we get another shot here. Let's see if we can pull up that Hackberry one. Yeah, a lot of incidents on 35 North. This is at Hackberry. Right before we get to some parts of downtown. So 37 Hackberry, and I think we had one now incident at the Alamo Dome. Let's see. Yeah, we still have those emergency vehicles out there. Oh, actually, we have cleared out. Okay, so kind of got a little confused there. But yeah, it looks like we have cleared out that crash there, 35 North at Houston Street. So we have a lot of TxDOT crews out and about the city right now trying to take care of a lot of different things that we're seeing at the moment. So if you have to hit the roads, you see these crews, make sure to move over to the side and let them kind of clear out exactly what's going on out there, because obviously they're out there along with everyone else kind of dealing with some of these tricky and dangerous conditions out there. So we'll continue to monitor the very latest, and we'll have more updates as we get them. Justin.
RJ, so what in the distance there, you see, is that a jackknife trailer that we're looking at there?
That may be. That's kind of what we were looking at a little bit earlier. And that may have been part of the reasons why they shut down this area, Loop 410 WW White. Again, there were two crashes there. Yeah, they're a little bit earlier, and it looks like traffic is just kind of being diverted off of the highway there.
So you can see traffic way in the distance.
Yeah,
it's hard to see, but it looks like they're stuck.
Yeah, both directions.
Yeah. Okay, and do me a favor, pull up that I-35 one more time, where that's closed out. Sorry, I'm like
no, go for
task over there.
Which one?
Oh no, the other one that didn't show any cars.
Yeah, this is it now. So they may have opened up.
Okay, they reopened it.
35, yeah.
See, but it's that bridge, right? You see the cars going across that bridge right there. That's what makes me nervous, because that's probably where it's a little icy. You see people with their flashes on. It looks like they're going slow.
Yeah. It's a little tricky
that's.
Especially
because you can still see
hills.
moisture there.
Talking about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the roads, you can still see some precipitation out there. I think a lot of people.
Right there. You see that? Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
So again, they just opened up. Thank God that driver appears to be okay. Had a little fishtail spin out there.
Well, what's scary is there's a person right there, the tow truck driver. That was a really close call. Okay.
Let me go back to that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Wow. So just be careful. That person, that was nerve-wracking to watch.
And they just reopened this too, because again, there was no traffic in through I-10 East going towards 37, and and we just saw what can happen out there.
Well, I think the other thing too is people are going slow here. So people are coming down that hill. You see way back there in the distance, probably at a little more speed, and they're hitting their brakes right there. And the worst thing you can do in an icy situation is to slam on your brakes, because that's when you're going to lose control. Listen, we don't want to see anyone crash out, but let's stay on this for another second and just see. We don't want this to be a spectacle, but
and
that's
is the way and what you just mentioned, Justin, about these TxDOT crews that are out there. They're obviously outside their vehicle trying to. Help any sort of these stranded drivers or drivers that may have been involved in a crash. So again, just be careful if you are driving through these areas. First of all, just make sure to drive slow through there, but also keep in mind that these crews are out there, walking basically kind of some pretty hazardous conditions there. And we just saw from that vehicle that spun out a little bit earlier.
Okay, and get over. I mean, like you got the rule is in any sort of weather, you got to get over a lane. These folks are driving right past that vehicle. You get over a lane if you can. Obviously, you can't always do that, but okay. Well, that was a little scary watching that. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's see. One other thing, Jamie, when do you guys need to start closing things down so y'all can get ready for the 9 a.m.? So like 8:50, you want us to shut this down? That good for you guys? Okay. So we'll be with you for about another 9 minutes or so. And we got to let the directors and the crew get ready for our 9 a.m. show. You can join us there, by the way. We're going to have all these updates. The one other big story here, other than the traffic, is now a power outage, which we are detecting on the west side. This is along 151 near SeaWorld. It is showing about 2,900 customers without power. Not a good thing in this kind of weather. We don't know what the reasoning is there. I don't think, now I don't know this for sure, I don't think this is ERCOT, because otherwise I think we'd have more outages around the area. So this could be due to something else, but we'll find out. We're trying to figure out what would be causing this, but at the moment that is the one power outage, the one big one at least, that we're seeing, although we did get a KSAT Connect photo that said there's some power outages down there, I believe, south of San Antonio. So, man, if that's your case, please stay warm. These temperatures are brutally cold, and that wind chill is something else this morning.
We've had, when you talk about power outages, we've had some pretty good winds all night long. So could it be a limb that
that's a good
fell.
point.
You know, even just a little bit of light icing. There hasn't been a whole lot of icing, not enough
Yeah.
to just cause the widespread damage to all of the trees
Right.
and power lines like that. So I'm thinking probably wind, because I mean, you look here in town as of 8 o'clock this morning. That's when the last update came out. We're still seeing wind gusts, 24 miles per hour. Still, now at 8 o'clock, there was freezing drizzle being reported at the airport. That was, again, 43 minutes ago, and 15 minutes ago. So there may still be a little bit of this, even though radar has shown a lot of it working its way off to the east. You know, a little bit of those couple of specks left over, and the windy conditions,
But
and
look
those
at these
wind chills.
accumulations. They're not showing up. Like you said earlier, that it's 1/100 of an inch at best, but it's enough. It's enough to where it's just been that fine mist. And it's been enough to create icy situations on the roadway. And man, that's we just almost saw it firsthand. Someone spinning out there. We don't want to see that. I'm gonna switch back over here, Mike.
Sure.
I'm gonna go through the forecast one more time.
And once again, even with the precipitation coming to an end, we're still going to have some slick spots, icy spots on the roads really throughout the rest of the day. As more traffic is out there, there's not going to be a heck of a lot of traffic today.
Right.
That will help it with the windy conditions, help to sort of, if you will, dry things out with some of that ice. But yeah, and temperatures ain't going anywhere really.
No, they're not. And they're staying right here in the 20 range, 20s. I think maybe up into the low 30s, but it's going to take a while for that to happen. And Mike and I were talking. We think it probably is going to take some of these clouds clearing out, which may happen later today. But until that happens, we're in the ice box. 22 here in San Antonio right now. And history tells us, in the middle of winter with clouds, it is very hard for us to warm up, no matter the situation. So this is a number we'll be watching closely. I think what we have working in our favor is that precipitation's probably trying to come to an end, and we got winds that can try to kind of dry things out. And hopefully that will relieve some of the icy road situations. But until then, we got to be so careful. 19 Bernie Sage, 17 in Comfort, 17 in Kerrville right now. In our forecast today, noontime, we'll still keep in a small chance for precip, but I think it's winding down at this point. Then we're up to 34 for high, and that's if we get some sun. And that's a possibility later today. And then we'll see those temperatures slip back down into the 20s tonight with some cloud cover. Here's the big picture. And if you're traveling today, I pointed this out earlier. It's kind of closer to the coast where we're having more issues. It's a little different than what we usually see. Usually it's the hill country, West Texas. In this case, it's San Antonio to Houston. That's kind of the corridor that's getting hardest hit here by freezing precip. And then you go up into far northeast Texas, and they've got snow falling on top of ice, which is even worse. But Memphis over to Nashville, it's just heavy snow. And then even New Orleans right now, cold rain, but we'll see where temperatures end up there. Current wind chill values, look at Amarillo, -13. I mean, I know Amarillo's cold, but that's like, Montana cold. -6 Abilene, 8 is what it feels like here in San Antonio right now. And that is our live camp, frozen over. Temperatures are still holding in the 20s, and the wind chills are single digits across the board. Northerly winds at 16 miles per hour. And again, those winds make it feel so much colder, but they could actually help us today if they can help to get rid of some of that ice.
You're talking about some of the wind chills around the state.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to be as cold as Amarillo, but saw some of those negative numbers in northern portions of the state. That's what we are looking at tomorrow for even portions of the hill country, wind chills below zero around here.
Correct. And here's my concern, Mike. Let's look at the wind chills this is midday today. We're seeing wind chills warm up to 14 and maybe into the 20s today. Okay, that's still cold. Cold is cold is cold. But as we get into tomorrow morning, this is what Mike is alluding to, single digits, maybe it feels like 2 here tomorrow morning. Negative numbers in the hill country. So this is where we get a little nervous with ERCOT, right? Because if it's -7, that's what it feels like in Kerrville. Imagine what it feels like in Amarillo or Dallas. And so we have to think of the state as a whole when we're looking at the ERCOT situation, because we're all on the same grid, right? As of right now, ERCOT's cutting close tomorrow morning. Now, I don't want to panic people. This is not like 2021. We don't think it will be, but we are watching closely that output with ERCOT tomorrow. We have gotten no indication yet that there would be rolling outages or anything like that. So we're not even going to, I don't even want to put that out there. But as I said, it's just something we're watching. These numbers are very, very cold. And Yeah, it's with the whole state in the ice box here. This is bears watching. That's all I'm saying. As we get into tonight, temperatures fall off pretty quickly, and I think by tomorrow morning, this is the air temperature down to 19. And we talked about the wind chills tomorrow morning, so 19, but feels like 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range. Extended forecast, and this is where we'll end it, and this will take us on into the 9 a.m. show. We hope you'll join us for that. But 35 tomorrow, 46 Wednesday, 60 on Thursday. That's the big increase, and then we get another front that cools us back down. Mike, you have anything to add before we wrap things up?
Just stay warm as much as possible. Watch it the next couple of mornings. Best advice.
Grilled cheese and tomato soup?
Yes, indeed.
I thought that might be the case. RJ, anything from you, man?
I mean, right now, Justin, we just saw a vehicle spin out live, almost spin out, and nearly hit a TxDOT truck that was working on the side of the road. So just keep caution if you're out there. Just watch for those. We were talking about those dips, kind of those hilly areas where you're not necessarily going to see maybe the highway on the other side of the hill. So keep that in mind if you're headed out there, or just try and avoid these areas. If possible at all. And just again, give the TxDOT crews the space to also try and clear out what we have an ongoing traffic situation right now. So that's, say, the biggest thing.
All right, RJ, we certainly appreciate Sarah Costa joining us this morning on the Appcast, and Mark and Mike, the whole crew, all those working in the back. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you staying with us today. We're about to go live on the 9 a.m. show. We'll see you there. And we'll have updates on the icy situation. Be safe out there and have a great day.